Hello everyone, welcome to Business and Laundry. I am Bimbo Ogwefi. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about staffing. How do you get good staff and how do you remove the bad ones without it affect the overall system or the overall business? Staffing can be challenging. Business is sweet, but sometimes when you introduce staff, you start wondering, what is it? Have I done anything wrong? Instead of you being focused on the main task at hand, which is your business, to grow your business and make it, thrive. You're busy thinking of, working on people's children and all that. And you're now wondering, are you babysitting or you're supposed to be focused on your business? So I'm going to be telling you things that you need to do. I'll highlight points that you need to follow that will help you to stop certain things. How do you identify the good stuff? How do you identify the bad ones? From pilfering, to some mistakes, to slowing work down and all sorts. You start asking yourself certain questions. Have you done anything wrong by, introducing other people to come and, help you out with the business? No, you've not done anything wrong. It's just that some people, they have come from different backgrounds. They have different values. Their ethnic, work ethics is different. They have different habits and so on. So how do you identify that? So that when you are employing, you don't just employ. You have to take time to do employment. You interview, you ask for referrals. That is where they have worked before. Contact them, find out one or two things, give them text for certain roles. Don't be in a hurry when you're doing interview, because whether you believe it or not, people come with different values. Like I said earlier, they have different home training, they have different work ethics. So how do you identify that if you don't do proper interview? So interview is compulsory, and if possible, back it up with a test. Don't just do a verbal interview and you think that is all. Let them write things down. That helps you to even know if they can speak well, they can read and write and all that, and you be able to do your judgment. Never be in a hurry to employ. Don't be desperate, because sometimes desperation can mean that you just take anyone that comes, whether they have the experience or they don't have the experience, whether they are good at the role they are applying for or not. And ask them questions. From the one or two questions you ask them, you'll be able to tell if they are really good people or not. Many job seekers are just looking for job. Not that they are going to be dedicated to the job. They just after the money, so to speak. They just want money. They are just working for the payment to be made. They don't care about the job they are doing. So, and some people are not loyal. Is when you put money in their hands that you really know who is loyal or who is not loyal. And there are some, businesses that has to do with cash flow, that they get in touch with cash from now and then. So how do you know them? You will know them from when you put cash in their hands. How do they manage it? So be careful and check properly. Do your thorough investigation before you add someone into your business, because they can either make it, or do the other way around. So some people are, like I said, some people are not loyal. They are not loyal. Sometimes you give them work, they complain, it's too stressful, the workload is too much. They are not ready to give. Somebody should give before they receive. So if they are not ready to give, you should be able to tell, that these people are not good people. So not everyone you see in your business or that will see the business the way you see it. You have to understand that. Staff in businesses like laundry that I'm always particular about, home cleaning, maybe grocery like supermarkets, logistics, they touch money. So you have to be careful. You have to be, there to make sure that pilfering does not come up, because they handle a lot of cash, they handle customers' items, they handle customers' complaints and all that, equipment and all that. So be careful. What I'm just trying to say in this first point is that interview before you employ. Check them thoroughly for you to know if they can handle certain tasks or not. Another thing I'm going to talk about is you need to understand pilfering. How it starts and why it happens. Pilfering, pilfering, pilfering. People talk about pilfering. Pilfering is not just stealing. It can be taking small items. If you have a grocery or a supermarket, someone picking items, doing their own shopping without the owner of the business knowing, that is pilfering. It's even more than stealing. It's bad. How do you know if you don't know the number of items that you have on your shelves? How would you know? For laundry, they take detergents, they take starch, they take packaging nylon, they take almost everything. How would you know if you don't have an account of what you have there? So they use all these things to go and do side jobs. Some people even take as much as chemicals, they pack them in different categories and go and resell just for them to get small change from it. So you need to be vigilant. You need to be aware of your environment. You need to know what you're doing. The fact that you're running a business does not mean you will relax and think it will just happen like that overnight. No, it doesn't happen. You have to pay attention to the little details that you have there. Sometimes, from my own experience, they divert customers. Your customers will now become their own customers. You are offering a certain amount for a garment. They can call the customer to the side and then tell them, I'll do it cheaper. How will you stop that? You have to be aware. You have to call your customers. If you don't call your customers personally, you will not know. And calling them personally is not you announcing that you're the owner of the business. From time to time, you can even delegate someone to call because they don't know the reason why you're telling them to call. Call all these customers. Let's know what is happening. Say hello. From there, you will know one or two. You get one or two information. So you need to understand that staff do divert customers. Then they lie. They lie about a lot of things. How will you know someone is lying? Somebody damaged a customer's garment, for instance, and they are lying about it. They are telling you that is how the clothes came from the customer. How would you know when you're not there? How would you know when you don't have someone that you can really trust that is in charge of that? How will you know when you don't have policies in place that will flag that from from the first stage? So these points are important, very, very important. Some make mistakes and go and hide it until you find out. So these things are very, very important, and it's only bad people that do this. If you have good people with good home training, they will not do this. I'm telling you, they won't, because they are trustworthy people. They are honest. They will never do such. But the bad ones are the ones doing this. So you have to find out and weed them out. Why do they do it? Sense of entitlement. After all, a small thing, it doesn't really matter, or they will not know. Lack of supervision. You need supervision. If your business is still small, you have to supervise all the way. And as it's growing, you delegate, put people in charge of certain roles and certain departments. That their job is to report back to you on incidents. That is how you can be on top of your game. Poor recruitment. Like I said earlier, do your interviews well. Be thorough. Don't just employ because you're in a hurry to employ. There are no consequences. When someone knows that if they cause the damage to a particular customer's item, they will be responsible for it. They will either pay with their salary, or you must have consequences. Somebody is coming late to work. You did not warn them the first time. You did not warn them the second time. It becomes a routine. So there must be consequences in place for certain mistakes and failures that happens within your business. They believe that oga no go know now, make we run some. Do you understand? These are the languages that they speak. But if you don't handle pilfering early, it becomes part of your business, and it becomes a culture, and this can really ruin the business. So pilfering is not what we joke about. We have to be vigilant and try and pay attention to our business so that we can grow. Because sometimes you think you're not growing, but you're seeing the customers and you're wondering what is happening. The customers are not your problem. It's your staff. So how are you handling your staff? The next one I'm going to talk about is how to get good ones. There are good staff. I'm not at work most times. And when I go in, I just breeze in, stay 2 3 hours, and I'm off, and my business is moving, is growing. I didn't do that when I started. I started doing that when I believe the business has grown to a stage and I think I have capable hands. That was when I started that. I can travel and my business will be running well. I won't have issues. So the fact that you're a business person does not mean you should suck yourself in it. That means you're doing 9 to 5. If you cannot have any time off because you're running a business. So that is not what I'm talking about. So how do you get good staff that can actually have specific positions and in running this business well for you? Now you have to stop hiring out of desperation. Like I said, if you take your time in hiring, in your interviews and all, you will not go wrong. You don't do emergency. It's not when you're always short of staff that you are now employing. You employ ahead of time. Have 1 or 2 people that can do a particular task. Say in laundry, for instance, you have washer. Don't have just one washer. If the washer decide not to come today, what happens to your job? Does that mean you pack up because the washer is not available? So it's important that you have 1 or 2. Have more people, have backups. So desperation in hiring is not good at all. Hiring during emergency is also not good. What I mean is desperation is, you're in a hurry, you just want to employ. An emergency is someone just did not show up to work, and because of that you need someone to come and do a particular task for you that day. They will mess up things because they do not know the culture of the business. So be careful when you're hiring employee, so that we don't make mistake. Another thing I want to talk about is use of structured recruitment. Sometimes for us, we do use recruitment agencies because we believe they do a thorough job. Even at that, when they come, we still do our own due diligence. We do our own due diligence. They have written application. We do verbal interview. We do oral interview. We do practical interview. For pressers, you cannot come and say you're a presser and we'll just employ you. We'll do a test for you. You will iron 1 or 2 shirts, because we believe shirts are like the most difficult garments you can press. So if you're a good presser, you should be able to press 2 shirts within certain number of minutes, and we'll tell you to fold 1 and hang 1. So depending on, we'll check you for time, we'll check you for accuracy in the way you press the clothes, we'll check you for neatness, because if you're not neat, there's a way you will be ironing those clothes. You'll be rough and just scattering what you said you have already ironed. So there are things we check when hiring, and for certain role. If I'm employing like a customer relationship officer, I want to listen to you speak. I want to see you write something down, because you'll be doing a lot of documentation, you'll be speaking with customer. I have to make sure that whoever I'm putting as a front desk is actually who should be there. Okay? Then we do reference check. Where have you worked before? We call them, we find out what they have done. We also do guarantors. We request for guarantors from them, and we do our due diligence by checking the guarantors. So these are things you have to follow up that will help you to actually employ the good staffs. And when someone starts saying, I don't have guarantor, I don't do this, just know that there's something fishy. But if you give someone a form and you tell them to submit it on a particular day, and before you know it, the form is even back before then, that means they are good people. So these are little information that I want to, which I apply to my own, that I'm also telling you guys. Like I always say in my videos, most of the things I come here to share, they are things I do. I'm not reading it from somewhere, or just, there are things I do on a regular basis. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about concerning you getting good staff is ask the right questions. Ask the right questions. What do I mean by ask the right questions? Instead of do you want the job, ask things like, tell me, how do you work under pressure? What made you leave your old job? You will know. There are some people that just shopping around when it comes to job. They will do 1 month here, they will go to another place, do 3 months. In a year, they would have worked in like 20 places. Those are not the kind of people you want to employ. So ask them the right question. If a customer complain about so and so, how do you handle it? You will know. So ask them the right question when you're doing interview. You know, how do you handle mistake? If you make a mistake in a particular task, how do you handle it? Will they come and tell you they have made mistake? Will they sweep it under the carpet? These are things that you should ask that will really help you in getting your good staff. Don't forget, we are talking about getting good staffs and how to remove the bad one. Then lastly, on this point of getting the good ones, don't recruit only for skill. That's very important. Don't employ people just because of the skill. Maybe you think they can do the job and that is the reason you're employing them. For instance, you get a presser that says, oh, I've worked in so and so dry cleaners, I have over 5 years experience, and based on that you take them. What about their character? Character is important. Also employ because of character. Skill alone will not do it. Please employ based on character too, because character cannot be forged. It cannot be forced. It's what you see is glaring. And if someone does not have a good character, it's going to affect your whole operation, you know. So skill is also important. Don't misunderstand me. But you can teach skills, but you can't teach character. You can teach skills, but you cannot teach character. So let's not get it twisted. It's very important. Character, for me, most times I choose character over skill because I can train